Hello everyone, welcome to Startup Academy. So in today's lecture, we shall be talking about the PYQ. So you can mark this session as your PYQ session, and today we shall be discussing about the geography PYQs for the year 2021, and let's name this session as geography PYQs. Okay. PYQ, we can write PYQ for geography and for the year 2021. Alright, so in the previous lecture, we had discussed one questions already. Also, there were few children or students, I would rather say, who actually contacted me and who said that we are facing difficulties while answering the question. Therefore, this session belongs to those children who actually requested me on the WhatsApp. They called me because they were not able to answer. So those students belong to our YouTube family because they cannot directly contact us. They cannot communicate with us during the live lectures. So people who cannot communicate with us lively, they prefer calling on the WhatsApp number that is usually provided to our students who are actually linked with us via Telegram or WhatsApp or any other platform. So they had contacted me and they were facing difficulties. So on your guys' demand, we have bought this lecture in which we shall be discussing the two major questions that you are facing difficulty in. So I do not think that they were difficult questions, but since you are facing, so they would be difficult for you. So let us clear all the misconceptions regarding answering the question. So what happens is the doubt number one was, before actually coming to the question, I would tell other students, those who are not able to contact us, the first doubt was whether we should write answer writing like we are writing the answer. First of all, it is mandatory for you all to know that the sheet would be provided to you, like the sample sheets are available on our site as well, on UPSC site as well. You can go and download those slides or that PDF, and you can get it printed out and you can start practicing on that. Until and unless you won't be practicing on that, you would be you should be prepared to meet the failure, which I believe is a basic drawback for for which the students actually faces the failure. So first of all, the thing is that what we get to hear from the student is that writing answers on the sheet, providing the column, you would be provided with a column like this, and questions would be mentioned over here. Here the question would be written, the margins would be there, and there would be a space for you to write your answer. So this shall be your space. In this you can write whatever you want to. You should not go beside them. Going over here is not actually allowed. That can lead to negative marking in the answer, descriptive answer type of questions as well. So this is the basic thing. Another thing is that people were asking, while writing the answer, what path shall we follow? Like path have already been told to you in the classes as well, or while discussing these answers as well. You must be knowing by now how to answer the questions asked during your UPSC examinations. So the basic thing while answering the UPSC question level is that answer while answering the question. First shall be your introductory part, then will be your body, and then will be your conclusion. It is not necessary for you all to mention headlines like this. Instead, your content within these headlines must be that it reveals on itself, it speaks on itself loudly that we are the introductory lines, we are the major part of the question, and we are the conclusion for the answer, or conclusive lines. So this is how you should answer. This is the basic thing that major people were asking. So I hope it is clear now. No need to, again I am saying, no need to write this. Your lines should be explanatory enough to the examiner that we are the introductory lines, we are the main body, and we are the conclusive part. No one is asking you to mention introduction with black pen and then continue writing with it. These are not your examinations going on in school or something like that. yes, your handwriting should be very clear enough that the examiner can see and can interpret what you have written. So that must be there, but not necessarily unnecessarily you are using pink pen, pencil to highlight, and all those things are not very tolerable while answering the examinations in UPSC. All right, so this was the basic thing. Now coming on to the questions, again I am saying no need to write these things. You just need to line the content. The content should be loud enough that they are saying I am introductory part, I am the main body, and I am the conclusive part. I hope it is clear now. Coming on to the question, in the previous class we actually discussed about this question which says that degradation of forest resources and wildlife is fallout, agriculture and urbanization assessed with examples from India. So some people try to answer like this. This way of answering is also correct, but the preference will be given to the ones who are writing in points. This is basic thing. You should know. So if you are writing this way, this is whole perfectly correct. If you are writing your answer in the points, so that is also acceptable. But make sure, because the space provided to you is very limited, so you need to work accordingly. Another thing, this has already been discussed in the previous class. So coming on to the actual part of the video, which says that UPSC geography, you can mention the year 2021 over here. ठीक है, तो geography part आता है आपका, तो उसके अंदर का part है. The question says that most of the country, that day also I read this question out during the lecture. So it says that most of the countries prefer coal, petroleum, like non-renewable resources instead of using renewable resources. Renewable resources include your wind energy, your solar energy, your other power sources of energy. So why are we not utilizing these sources of energy? Why are we still dependent on the coal? So can you explain? So this was your question. The question is very clear. Like, these sources, when we talk about these sources like solar energy, the wind energy and all those sorts of energy, these energy are provided to us only when the source is available. Energy could be drained from the source when the source is available. What if there is no source at all? Can we place the solar panels in say Thiruvananthapuram, where Mosanram, where there is heaviest rainfall? Rainfall would be there, no sun would be there. So how is it possible? Can we place such things in Norway where there is no sun at all for 6 months? So these are the predictable things or predictable answers. This is the approach how you can answer your question. So the basic thing, it says that many countries continue to rely on coal over renewable sources of energy and wind due to combination of economical, technological and structural factors. We need to focus upon the economy sectors of the various countries as well, because there are certain countries who are actually lagged. They are quite lagged behind the time because of the technological issues, or I would say the economical issues, because of the internal disturbances also that India is facing right now, because of the crisis of the, I would say, the World War III it is. So because of the World War III, the crisis that Indian people are facing for, I would say, LPG, for CNG, for petroleum, and all those things, that is also very underrated, because people are not trying to understand what is actually going on beside, like around their environment. So those things are also need to be taken care of. Coming back to the topic, we have firstly the coal provides reliable base load power energy. What happens is solar energy will give you result, but the efficiency would be less. The amount, the investment, the input would be more and the output would be less. Therefore the efficiency would be less as compared to the coal one, which is cheap. It is readily available, and for I would say for people in the Jharkhand, it is readily available. But for people living far away places, and the transportation cost must be there, so for them it is not as cheap as it is for the people where the source is already present. Then we have, in contrast, solar energy. Wind energy can intermittent and depend on the weather conditions. Basically आपको यहाँ क्या लिखना था, इसके आपको लिखने थे फायदे, या फिर आप कह सकते हो एडवांटेजेस. And here for the solar energy, what you were supposed to write was, you need to write the disadvantages. All right. So these were the basic things that were basically required. Now, trans from here I am reading it. Transitioning to renewable resources would require sustainable capital investment, making coal a more viable short-term option. Thirdly, coal remains relatively cheaper in many regions, especially where it is abundantly available domestically. Abundantly available domestically में you can mention the example of the place. जब हमने एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज के बारे में पढ़ा था, we had read the table regarding the coal. We had read like types of coal were there, and the table also included the major portion where it is actually found, how it is used, and where it can be used. So that also you can mention. This reduces dependence on energy imports and supports employment in mining related sectors. Additionally, technological okay. Additionally, technological here I am now. Additionally, technological limitations of renewable energy hinder widespread adoption. Efficient energy storage systems are still expensive and not widely accessible. Finally, policy institutional inertia slows the transition as government offers prioritize economic growth and energy access over environmental concerns. Thus, despite environmental drawbacks, coal remains as preferred energy source due to its reliability. The topics that they are mentioning again as their conclusive line is reliability, affordability, and established ecosystem. So this is how presentable it is upon you, how creative you can be while mentioning your answers, how how much power like remembering power your membrane possess. So that depends when you will mention the example that was asked in here. All right, so this is how you can answer that question. I hope it has been made easy for you to just analyze this answer and analyze your answers. So I've analyzed many of the answers. I have received around 15 to 20 answers on WhatsApp channel, and those who have not yet given can give now. Can now, so you can just directly check with this answers. I'm not saying that this is the best answer one can ever have. More best answers could be there, and copies of the toppers you can check from that also how presentable you can be. All right, so coming on to the next question that we had, it says that air pollution and water shortages are problem faced by urban centers across the globe. Why only urban centers are facing such difficult situations, like water shortages are there and the water problems are there? First of all, what is water shortage? Water shortage is like population is more but the resource is less, therefore it needs to be reduced. That is what basic definition of water shortage can be. Then they are saying is air pollution. Air pollution, how can we determine air pollution? Any external particle that has been added to the environment and that is creating chaos, nuisance in the actual environment of the atmosphere is called air pollution. That is what air pollution actually is. And air pollution is basically caused by the effluents that are released from the industries or factories, or the vehicular emissions are also there. Then we have the chlorofluorocarbon that are being released from our refrigerators, or ammonia that is being released from our refrigerators. And also we have I would say air conditioners that are releasing harmful gases. Then we have chemical laboratories that are releasing harmful gases, like harmful substances also in water and in air also. Harmful gases like hydrogen sulfide is there, sulfur dioxide is there, nitride oxide, nitrous oxide. All these harmful gases, along with the volatile compounds that are being used in the laboratory, including your benzene compound, your paraffins, your hydrocarbons, your oiling system, people cooking in the village areas, like I would say, or people cooking in the open area and the village areas where they use burning of the coals or burning of the petroleum that release highly dangerous gases or hydrocarbons into the atmosphere that prevail in the atmosphere and can also lead to certain sort of disturbance in the ozone layer of ours. So that is basic thing. So this is how the air pollution could be mentioned. And water shortages, again, we have already discussed. So they are saying that why are these problems only faced by the people living in the urban areas, and why not other people like rural people? Why are they not facing? They are facing, but majority is being faced by the urban population. All right. Now they are saying that this statement highlights two critical challenges. Two pollutions are being discussed. One is the pollution and other is the shortages, increasingly affecting urban centers across the globe due to rapid urbanization and industrialization. अर्बन एरियाज क्या होते हैं? अर्बन एरियाज वो होंगे जहां पर आपके म्यूनिसिपल और से मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज होंगी, and companies would be there, therefore employees would be there. Since employees are there, therefore families will move. Families from village would come to such places, and when family would come, therefore we can say that population increase would be there. So thereby population increase is there. Now let's take example of Delhi. Say Delhi, this is Delhi. Delhi can accommodate say 100 people, and here how many people are living? People, these many people are living. Will there not be shortage of things when it has capacity to accommodate 100 people and powers of 100 people are living over there? Will it not face the shortages? So that is what the question is basically asking you, or trying to ask from you, or trying to get your views on that. So coming back to our answer, we have, they are telling you how the air pollution is caused. So people would come, and more traffic would be there. Traffic would be because of the vehicles, because they need to go reach to their places because of that. So that is how you can relate. Now industrial, okay, construction sites also, they release certain sort of elements in the air, so that is also the basic thing. Then water pollution is another concern. Water pollution, why? Because majority of the population is living in New Delhi. Since major people are living in New Delhi, therefore domestic waste would be there, sewages would be there filled with dirt, and I would say all the domestic waste, and your agriculture waste would also be there. Not much agriculture waste, because land won't be there for the people to do farming and all, irrigation and all, but land would be there for the people to live, and from that living only major uh, uh, what do we call that, dust comes out of the house, that is basically either released in the atmosphere in form of gases or water vapor, or it directly joins the sideways or nearby, what do we call that, water body. So that is there. Okay, then we have contaminating rivers is there. Okay, solid waste, this is whole they are telling about how the pollution is being caused. Then we have what, then we have the waste mismanagement is there, further aggravates rapid environmental degradation. Water shortages have become, here I am, have become a pressing issue in many cities. Rapid population growth, increased demand with supply remains limited. Over extraction of groundwater depletion is being also there. We have already read about the groundwater depletion, and groundwater plus surface water. Okay, groundwater प्लस सरफेस वाटर एंड देयर कंटामिनेशन. ग्राउंड वाटर कंटामिनेशन के बारे में जब भी बात करते हैं, वी ऑलवेज टॉक अबाउट आर्सेनिक, वी ऑलवेज टॉक अबाउट मर्क्यूरी, इन टर्म्स ऑफ मर्क्यूरी एंड आर्सेनिक एंड कैडमियम, बिकॉज these are the basic things that basically seeps and infilters. ग्राउंड वाटर जो होता है, अगर उसकी बात करें थोड़ी सी, ज़्यादा नहीं, द ग्राउंड वाटर, the groundwater basically has one feature, like how can we refill the groundwater? The groundwater level could be refurnished. How could we refurnish it? There were various processes. When we studied about the water cycle, there was infiltration, then the another one, that was seepage. These were the basic two processes due to which the level of the groundwater could be refilled. So, what happens is when these would infiltrate, they would infiltrate and go inside the soil as well. We were reading about the soil also, like these were the parent unweathered rocks, these were the parent but weathered rocks, these was the inorganic layer material, mineral material was there, here was the organic layer, and here was the humus. Here it was humus or with minerals. So this was your soil level diagram, or we can say soil profile. This was your soil profile, and here deep down is your ground level, that basically the water flows. So since water is flowing, say here water is flowing, when water will flow from here, it is not visible. When water will flow from here, will these layers not act as filters for the water to go down? And they will be acting as what do we call that? They would be acting as filters or sieve, but the water can contain things from these layers as well. Like here, basic things will be there. So water can contain things from here, water can contain things from here, and from here, and thus reaching the actual groundwater level. Once it actually reaches the groundwater level, it is basically filled with your sulfur, your cadmium, or your mercury, your arsenic. Your arsenic. So these things are found, and since these things are found, they basically contaminate the water. Responsible for water contamination. कौन सा वाटर? वाटर भी कौन सा? ग्राउंड वाटर. सरफेस वाटर के कंटेमिनेशन के फैक्टर्स थोड़े अलग है, थोड़े से, नॉट all but थोड़े से. That could be your pesticides, your agriculture waste, your sewage, your industrial waste, or all those things also. So this was all about ग्राउंड वाटर. ये हमने तब भी डिस्कस किया था, फिर से डिस्कस कर लिया, डजेंट मैटर. ओके. देन दे आर सेइंग दैट ओवर एक्सट्रैक्शन की वजह से द लेवल नीड्स टू बी फिल्ड, और लेवल फिलिंग के लिए हमने दो प्रोसेसेस पढ़े. वन इज योर इनफिल्ट्रेशन, अनदर इज योर सीपेज. Then we have, from here I will be studying climate change and erratic rainfall patterns. Change in the climate is also there. Erratic. Why is the climate changing rapidly? There was a question in 2021. So most of you have done it correctly. So congratulations. I've already written. I've already cleared for you on the text. So okay, why is climate changing rapidly? Because of the increased population, because of the ozone layer depletion, because of the global warming. The seasons have changed their patterns. That is the basic reason. If you want to mention over here, you can mention it, though it is not required. Coming back to the question, further worsen the crisis, inadequate infrastructure leakage, unequal distribution contribute to urban water scarcity. What happens is in most of the houses, the leaking taps go unnoticed, the leaking toilets, taps, they all go unnoticed, due to which the water is being wasted at a very high level, and the other people needs to face the scarcity. The consequences are to be faced by either you or me. These two issues are interlinked. Polluted water sources reduce the availability of usable fresh water, while water scarcity forces the dependence on unsafe water. Here, the basic point or the major line that you all can mention is that 99% of the water, okay, how much water is available? It says that only 71% water is there on the earth. On earth it is there, out of which 95% is in seas or oceans, and your 3% is trapped in ice caps, and it says that 2%, 1% in rivers or say surface water, 1% 0.5%, say 0.5% your groundwater, and rest over 0.5% is available for use. Mentioning such terms, which terms? Again, I repeat, mentioning such terms, these, these will highlight your answer, that you are aware of the numbers as well. So, if you want your examiner to draw your, if you want to draw the attention of the examiner towards your answer, so you can use these numbers. Uh, with the thought that the significant values that you are using in your exam are also belong to your, I would say, are very analyzed values, or you have taken a reference from somewhere, either from my notes or from your any other book that you are preferring, so that could be used. So this is how you can answer, and this was the most easy answer that one could have attempted and could have gained full marks. So this was all for today. Thank you and keep watching.